press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Dear students, welcome to Classroom of Physics. Okay, now we shall look into the question. Through two parallel wires A and B, 10 and 2 amperes of currents are passed respectively in opposite direction. If the wire A is infinitely long and length of the B is 2 meter, the force on conductor B, which is situated 10 centimeter from A, will be. See here, see there are two wires. Here there are two wires. Wire A is infinite length. This is wire A of infinite length. We have wire B, which is a finite length. They are separated by a distance d is equal to 10 centimeter. And both of them carrying current in the opposite directions. One is 10 ampere, another one 2 ampere. They ask you to calculate what is the force. F is equal to mu naught by 2 pi I1 I2 into L divided by D. And what is its value? 2 into 10 raised to minus 7. Then I1 is 10, I2 2. Length is also, length of the wire B is 2 meter. This is 2 meter. 2. D is 10 centimeter. 10 into 10 raised to minus 2. See, on simplification, you are going to get 8 into 10 raised to minus 5 Newton. See, therefore, the repulsive force acting on the wire B due to wire A is given by 8 into 10 raised to minus 5 Newton. See, now let us move on to next question. A circular coil of radius of 4 centimeter has 50 turns. In the coil, current of 2 ampere is flowing. It is placed in a magnetic field of 0.1 Weber per meter square. The amount of work done in rotating through 180 degrees from its equilibrium position is. See, here we have to calculate the work done. See, work done is given by W is equal to mb into 1 minus cos theta. Here theta is 180 degree. So when you substitute this, W is equal to mb 1 minus cos 180. Cos 180 is minus 1, therefore this is 2 mb. And you know that m is given by n into I into A. N into I into A is pi r square. Now substitute here, W becomes equal to 2 into n into I into pi r square into B. Say 2 into number of turns is 50. And what is the current flowing through this? 2 ampere. Pi is 3.14. Radius is 4 centimeter. 4 into 10 raised to minus 2 whole square. Strength of the magnetic field is 0.1 Weber per meter square or Tesla. See, on simplification, so you are going to get 0.1 joule. So approximately you are going to get 0.1 joule. Let's move on to third question. 4 wires, each of length 2 meter, are bent into 4 loops P, Q, R and S, then suspended into a uniform magnetic field. Same current passed in each loop. Which statement is correct? See, in this case, dear students, all the 4 loops, whatever loops you are seeing in the diagram, are having same perimeter. Perimeter is 2 meter. All are having same perimeter. And for all these given shapes, area of the fourth loop is maximum. Area of the fourth loop is maximum. So you know that area of circle is maximum compared to any other structure. See, therefore, we know that magnetic moment is given by I into A, I into pi r square. Since you know that torque is given by M cross B, M cross B. The one which is having large value for magnetic moment always experiences more torque or more couple, right? Moment of a couple. So for this reason, the fourth loop, the couple on loop S will be highest. Have you got my point? See, because all the 4 loops, whatever shown in the diagram, are having same perimeter, and among the 4, if you check it up, the area corresponding to 4th loop is maximum. Area of circle is maximum. Since area is maximum, magnetic moment is maximum. As magnetic moment is maximum, torque acting it is also maximum. See, therefore, the couple experienced by the 4th loop is maximum compared to other 3. See, therefore, 4th option is correct. A current carrying loop is free to turn in a uniform magnetic field. The loop will then come into equilibrium when its plane inclined at. Okay, a current carrying loop is free to turn in a uniform magnetic field. The loop will then come into equilibrium when its plane inclined to. So you know that at equilibrium, if this is the magnetic field, if the loop is like this, carrying current I, okay, the loop will come equilibrium such that the magnetic moment, when it becomes parallel to B, right, the normal drawn to the plane becomes parallel to the magnetic field, we say that it is in equilibrium position, right? Potential energy is a minimum at this particular, okay, in this situation it is minimum, negative, minus MB, right, minus MB. See, here the angle between plane of the loop and B, angle between plane of the loop and B is 90 degree, and angle between normal drawn to loop, normal to the loop and B is 0 degree. Remember, okay, normal to the loop means angle between M, magnetic moment, and B, okay, this is 0 degree. So in this case, potential energy is minimum, minus MB. Remember, this is the minimum value of potential energy. See, therefore, see, in the 4 options they have given 90 degree to the direction of the field. They have, when it's plane, they have asked in terms of plane. See, therefore, the plane of the loop is at 90 degree with respect to the field. And therefore, option 3 is correct. As when you consider plane, see, this is correct. When you consider normal drawn to the plane, it is 0 degree. Have you got my point? Normal drawn to the plane of the loop makes an angle 0 degree with the field. Or when you take plane as such, plane is at right angles to the magnetic field, right? See, therefore, third option is correct. The sensitiveness of a moving coil galvanometer can be increased by decreasing. So you know that sensitiveness is given by, if you take current sensitivity is given by, we have a relation theta by I is equal to N into A into B divided by K, where K is couple per unit twist, unit twist. See, therefore, this is sensitive, current sensitivity. If I take this as S is inversely proportional to K. If K is smaller, S will increases. Current sensitiveness is given by, or current sensitivity is given by theta by I is equal to N into A into B by K. N is the number of turns, A is the area of the coil, and B is the strength of the magnetic field, and K is couple per unit twist. It's a torsion constant. Okay. If K decreases, sensitivity increases. See, therefore, fourth option is correct. See, therefore, sensitiveness of moving coil galvanometer can be increased by decreasing K value, couple per unit twist. A coil of galvanometer consists of 100 turns. The effective area is 1 square centimeter. The restoring couple is 10 raised to minus 8 Newton meter per radian. The magnetic field between the pole pieces is 5 Tesla. The current sensitivity of the galvanometer will be, already we come across the relation. Current sensitivity is given by NBA divided by K. See, N is how many turns? 100 turns are there. Area 1 square centimeter, 10 raised to minus 4 meter square, and field is, magnetic field is 5 Tesla, 5. And what is K? K is 10 raised to minus 8. 10 raised to minus 8. You please simplify this. So on simplification, you are going to get, this is 10 raised to 10, 5 into 10 raised to minus 6, 5 into 10 raised to plus 6, 5 into 10 raised to plus 6. Yes, is there. 5 into 10 raised to 6. Or you can write like this. You just take this 10 raised to minus 2 when it comes to denominator, 5 divided by 10 raised to minus 6. Therefore, we can write 5 into 10 raised to minus 4. 4 options are there. 5 radian per microampere. We can even write like this. This is 10 raised to minus 10. Okay. 5 into 5. Okay, this much. See, 5 radian per microampere. 5 radian per microampere. We can keep it like this. The fourth option is correct. 5 radian per microampere. You please check it up. Fourth option is correct. What is the net force on a square coil? On a square coil. See, they have given a diagram. They have given a diagram, and in the diagram we have a wire carrying 2 ampere, and there is a square loop. We have a square loop. It carries a current of 1 ampere. 1 ampere, and distance is, this is 2 centimeter, and this is 10 centimeter. See here, these two sides does not experience force due to current carrying wire, whereas these two experiences a force. Here there is attraction between these two and repulsion between these two. They ask you to find out what is the net force. Net force is given by F net is equal to mu naught by 2 pi I1 into I2, right? Net force L, this is 1 by R1 or D1 minus 1 by D2. You can use this relation. So when you use this relation, you are going to get, this is 2 into 10 raised to minus 7. I1 is 2 ampere. See, this is 2 ampere, and then length is how much? Okay, 15 centimeter length is there. 15 into 10 raised to minus 2, this is 15 centimeter, and you are going to get 1 by 2 into 10 raised to minus 2, and these two, this distance is 12 centimeter, minus 1 by 12 into 10 raised to minus 2. Okay, you please simplify this. On simplification, say you are going to get 2.5 into 10 raised to minus 6 Newton, 2.5 into 10 raised to minus 6 Newton, or 25 into 10 raised to minus 7 Newton towards the wire. ಯಾಕೆ ಟುವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ದ ವೈರ್ ತಗೊಳ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಇವೆರಡರ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಅಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಇವೆರಡರ ಮಧ್ಯ ರಿಪಲ್ಷನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಹೋಲಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ರಿಪಲ್ಷನ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ದೂರ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದಷ್ಟು ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೋರ್. ಸಿ ದೇರ್ ಫೋರ್ ದ ಲೂಪ್ ಇಸ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಸ್ಕ್ವೇರ್ ಲೂಪ್ ಇಸ್ ಅಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಟುವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ದ ವೈರ್. ಓಕೆ, so two long conductors separated by a distance d carry current I1 and I2 in the same direction. They exert a force F on each other. Now current in one of them increased 2 times and its direction is reversed. The distance is also increased to 3d. The new value of force between them is, so we have 2 wires carrying current. See, there are 2 wires carrying current along the same direction. Okay, see, this is the distance I1, I2. Then what is the force? F is equal to mu naught by 2 pi I1, I2 into L divided by D. They have given current in one of them increased 2 times, f dash mu naught by 2 pi 2i1, I2 as it is L, and distance is increased to 3d. See, therefore now f dash becomes equal to 2/3 of f. See, initially force between the two wires is given by mu naught by 2 pi I1 I2 L divided by d. See, this is force of attraction between them. In the second part, what they have given, see, they have increased the distance to 3d, and current I1 becomes 2i1, I2 as it is. So in such a case, the force became 2/3 of f. Force will decrease as 2/3. Current I is carried in a wire of length L. If the wire is turned into a circular coil, the maximum magnitude of torque in a given magnetic field B will be the current I carried in the wire of length L. The wire is turned into a circular coil, the maximum magnitude of torque. In this case, we have a wire carrying current I, the length is L. Okay, magnetic moment is given by I into A. They have given small I. Okay. Small I into A. Later on, this is bent like this. Now, what is the length? See, this becomes L is equal to 2R. Okay. Turned into a circular coil. See, now the magnetic moment becomes M is equal to I into. See, in such a case, we have the relation M into 2R, where it is given by, R is given by M into 2M into R is given by L by pi. See, because pi R is equal to L, half of the circumference. R is equal to L by pi. See, now using this, see, when you write this, M is earlier it is M into L. Now it is 2M into this much. So when you make a substitution, this is 2M by M dash becomes 2M by pi. Now new magnetic moment is 2M by pi. Originally, see, this is the magnetic moment. See, when it is bent in the form of a semicircle, when the wire bent in the form of a semicircle, the distance between them, see, we have they have given initially a magnet. I think they have given a magnet, iron rod of length L. Okay, this is not current carrying wire, sorry, it is a magnet. NS. Okay, you need not have to take on this magnet, where M here is, M stands for pole strength. L is magnetic length. Later on, you have bent this magnet like this, north south. You have bent it like this. Now L became 2R. As usual, pole strength doesn't changes, only length changes. Now make substitution. In the place of R, we have substituted L by pi. We have got 2m by pi. Three long straight wires A, B and C, carrying current as shown in the figure. The resultant force on B is directed. See, we have three wires. Three wires are there. They carrying current. Okay. One is carrying 1 ampere. This is A, this is B, this is C. It is like this in this direction. B is also directed downwards, 2 ampere, and C is also directed downwards, 3 ampere. Force on B. So you know that force is directly proportional to product of current. ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ರ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ, ಇದ್ರ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟಿಗೆ ಹೋಲಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಎಫ್ ಇವೆರಡನ್ನು ತೊಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ F1 ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. F1ಗೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, 1 × 2 ಆಂಪಿಯರ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಇವೆರಡರ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಇರೋದು F2 ಪ್ರಪೋರ್ಷನಲ್ ಟು 2 × 3. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಇವೆರಡರ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಅಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. therefore B will experience a net force towards C ಕಡೆಗೆ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. therefore the resultant force on B is directed towards C. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ. ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಒಂದೇ ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲೂ D ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲೂ D ಇದೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಒಂದೇ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಯಾವ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೋ ಆ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಇದು ಈ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. A 100 milliampere current gives full scale deflection in a galvanometer of 2 ohm resistance. The resistance connected with the galvanometer to convert it into voltmeter to measure 5 volt. So you are required to convert the galvanometer to voltmeter. To convert galvanometer to voltmeter, you have to connect a very high resistance in series. And you know that series says the galvanometer should be connected with a high resistance in series. Okay. R is equal to V by Ig minus G. V is 5 volt. What is Ig given? 100 milliampere. 100 into 10 raised to minus 3. Galvanometer coil resistance is 2 ohm. See, this is 50 minus 2, 48 ohm. See, therefore, by connecting 48 ohm in series with the galvanometer, you can convert it into voltmeter. The current flowing through coil of resistance 900 ohm is reduced by 90%. What value of shunt should be connected across the coil? See here, this is nothing but conversion of galvanometer to ammeter, right? They have given coil resistance is 900 ohm. So you have to reduce the current by 90%. So in this case, Ig is 10% of I. Reduced by 90% andre 10% ಇದೆ. See, that is 10 by 100 times I, or 0.1 I. Okay. So you know that S is equal to Igg by I minus Ig. What is Ig? 0.1 I, and G is 900 ohm divided by I minus 0.1 I. This is 0.1 divided by 0.9 into 900. See, this gives you 100 volt. See, therefore, by connecting, see, Ig is given. See, this is the galvanometer. You have this galvanometer, and we have connected a shunt. Yes, I is the main current. Ig is the current through galvanometer. This is how much? I minus Ig. I minus Ig. See, therefore, value of shunt required is given by this relation Igg by I minus Ig. G is the resistance of the coil of the galvanometer. See, therefore, by putting this relation, we get the value of shunt required as 100 ohm. Second option is correct. A voltmeter has a resistance of G ohms and a range V volt. The value of resistance used in series to convert into voltmeter of range NV is. ನೋಡಿ, ಒಂದು ಗ್ಯಾಲೋನೋಮೀಟರ್ ಇದೆ, ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಹೈ ರೆಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಇದ್ರದ್ದು ಪೊಟೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ವಿ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಉಳಿದದ್ದು ಎಷ್ಟಿರುತ್ತೆ? n-1 into V. So that range will be V ಇದ್ದದ್ದು NV ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಇಷ್ಟಾಗಬೇಕು. ಹೌದಾ? See, we know that see, we can calculate like this. Ig into R, Ig into R is equal to n-1 into V. See, we can write this Ig as V by R. Say V by G, galvanometer resistance, into R is equal to n-1 into V. This is potential difference across R. PD across R is given by, what is Ig? Ig is equal to V by G. Now V got cancelled. R is equal to n-1 into G. See, therefore, if you put a resistance which is equal to n-1 into G, you can increase the range from V to NV. If you want to increase range of voltmeter from V to NV, the series resistance required is given by R is equal to n-1 into G. Have you got it? You can increase or decrease the range only by altering the series resistance. Okay, this can be done like this. The resistance of galvanometer is a 25 ohm and it requires 50 microampere for full scale deflection. The value of shunt resistance required to convert it into a meter of 5 ampere is. See, here you are required to convert given galvanometer to voltmeter. See, therefore, what is the shunt required? S is equal to IgG by I minus Ig. Resistance of the galvanometer is Ig is how much? 50 microampere. 50 microampere. Resistance of the galvanometer 25. I is 5. 50 into 10 raised to minus 6. Compared to 5, this is very small. You can neglect this. 50 into 25 into 10 raised to minus 6 divided by 5. Okay. You are going to get 2.5 into 10 raised to minus 4 ohm. By connecting 2.5 into 10 raised to minus 4 ohm in parallel with the galvanometer, you can get a ammeter of range 5 ampere. Okay. A galvanometer has 30 divisions and sensitivity 16 microampere per division. It can be converted into voltmeter to read 3 volt by connecting. Ig is given by Ig is equal to N into K, where K is the current sensitivity. How much? See, this is theta by I by theta. N is 30. I by theta is how much? 16 microampere. 16 microampere. So you are going to get 4.8 into 10 raised to minus 4 ampere. Okay, this is Ig. See, what is the series resistance required? V by Ig minus G. V is how much? 3 volt. 3 divided by, or you can take this can be written like this: R plus G is equal to V by Ig. V is 3 divided by 4.8 into 10 raised to minus. See, on simplification, so you are going to get on simplification, you are going to get 6.25 kilo ohm. This implies R must be equal to 6000 ohm or 6 kilo ohm in series. Okay. Take a galvanometer resistance as 25 ohm. Okay. Two fifty ohm. Galvanometer resistance 250 ohm. Series resistance 6000. A voltmeter has a range of 0 to V volt with a series resistance R. If with the series resistance 2R, the range is 0 to V dash. Correct relation between V and V dash is, okay. See, in the first case, we have voltmeter range 0 to V. 0 to V. So, in this case, we have Ig is equal to already we have this equation R is equal to V by Ig minus G. We know this relation. R we can write Ig is equal to R plus G V divided by R plus G. Voltmeter has a range 0 to V when the series resistance is R. Now let us consider another situation, 0 to 2V or V dash. 0 to V dash. So here current remains same. Series resistance got changed. Ig is equal to V dash by 2R plus G, like this. We can write, you please simplify this. When you simplify this, V dash by 2R plus G is equal to V by R plus G. V dash is equal to V into 2R plus G divided by R plus G. We can split like this. V into R plus G plus R. R you can write like this. 2 into R plus G minus 3 V divided by R plus. ನಾನು ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಒಂದು G ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಒಂದು G ಸಬ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಈಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಈಗ ಸಪ್ರೇಟಾಗಿ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ V dash becomes equal to 2V minus G by R plus G. ಇದರ ಅರ್ಥ ಏನು, V dash less than 2V. 2V ಇಂದ ಏನನ್ನೋ ಸಬ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ V dash ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ 2V V dash ಗಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅರ್ಥ ಇದೆ? ಇಲ್ಲೇನು ಮಾಡಿದೆ ನಾನು, ಇವೆರಡು ಈಕ್ವೇಶನ್ ತೊಗೊಂಡೆ. ಮೊದಲು 0 to V ರೇಂಜಲ್ಲಿ ಇಷ್ಟಿತ್ತು, ಇದನ್ನೇ ಹೀಗೆ ಬರ್ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ. 0 to V ಡ್ಯಾಶಲ್ಲಿ ಹೀಗಿದೆ. ಅವರು IG ಏನು ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಆದದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಿಲ್ಲ, ಅರ್ಥಾಯಿದೆ? ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಮಾತಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅವರು. ಸೊ ಇವೆರಡು ಈಕ್ವೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಈಕ್ವೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇದನ್ನ ರೀಅರೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ರೀಅರೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು G ಸೇರಿಸ್ದೆ, ಒಂದು G ತೆಗೆದೆ. ಒಂದು G ಸೇರಿಸಿದಾಗ ಎರಡರಿಂದ 2G ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. 2G 2R ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. 2 ಕಾಮನ್ ತೆಗೆದೀನಿ. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು G ಸಬ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ. ಸಪ್ರೇಟಾಗಿ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೀಗೆ ಬಂತು. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ V ಡ್ಯಾಶ್ ಅನ್ನೋದೇನೋ 2V ಮೈನಸ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ V ಡ್ಯಾಶು 2V ಗಿಂತ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದೆ. therefore 2V is greater than V dash. See, that is the conclusion. An iron rod of length L and magnetic moment M bent in the form of a circle. Now its magnetic moment will be. ಇದು ಹಿಂದೆನೇ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ಕ್ವಶನ್ನು ಮಿಸ್ ಆಗಿ ನಾನು ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೆ, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಇದು ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಅದೇನೇ ಅದು, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾರ್ತ್ ಸೌತ್ ಇದೆ, ಲೆಂತ್ ಎಲ್ ಇದೆ, ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಮೂಮೆಂಟ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಎಮ್ ಇಂಟು ಎಲ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಎಮ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಪೋಲ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಂತ್. ಇದನ್ನೇ ಹೀಗೆ ಬೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈಗ ಇದು 2r, ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಮೊಮೆಂಟ್ ಎಮ್ ಇಂಟು 2r. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ ಇಸ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು ಪೈ ಆರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆರ್ ಇಸ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು ಎಲ್ ಬೈ ಪೈ. 2m ಇಂಟು ಆರ್ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ ಬೈ ಪೈ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ದೇರ್ಫೋರ್ ಇದೇನಿದು ಎಮ್ ಎಲ್ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ 2m by pi. This is m dash. ಹಿಂದೆ ಆ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಎಷ್ಟನೇ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ನಾನು ಮಿಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡೆ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನು ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಮೇ ಬಿ ಓಕೆ, 17th ಕ್ವಶನ್ಗೆ ಇದು ಆನ್ಸರು. ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಯಾವ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಮಿಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡೆ, ಜಂಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಚೆಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಅಪ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸರಿ. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಕ್ವಶನ್ ನಂಬರ್ 9 ಒಂದ್ಸಲ ಗಮನಿಸಿ. ಡಿಯರ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಲುಕ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ನಂಬರ್ 9. ಕ್ವಶನ್ ನಂಬರ್ 9ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾರಿಡ್ ಇನ್ ಎ ವೈರ್ ಆಫ್ ಲೆಂತ್ ಎಲ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಐ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಪಾಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಮೊಮೆಂಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಗಿವನ್ ಬೈ ಐ ಇಂಟು ಎ. Generally magnetic moment is given if this wire turned into a circular coil. See, this wire is turned into a circular coil like this. It is given by I into pi r square. This is known to you. Then L is equal to wire of length L is equal to 2 pi r. Therefore r is equal to L by 2 pi. When you substitute here, m is equal to I into pi into L square by 4 pi square. 1 pi got cancelled. 1 pi got cancelled. You are left with I into L square divided by 4 pi. This is m. They ask you to calculate what is the torque. Maximum torque is given by m into b. M is this one, I L square b divided by 4 pi. I L square b divided by 4 pi. This is the answer. I hope you have got this. Okay. Say this is the question. I have missed it. Please check it up. I into L square by 4 pi. Please make correction. Here the wire is drawn into a loop. Say magnetic moment is given by I into pi r square. Here the wire is having a length L. Therefore L is equal to 2 pi r because it became a circle. R becomes equal to L by 2 pi. You please substitute for r there. You are going to get L square by 4 pi square. On simplification, you are going to get torque, maximum torque is given by this. Okay. The sensitive magnetic instrument can be shielded very effectively from outside magnetic field by placing inside a box of. So you know that metal box, especially soft iron metal box, soft iron is having very high magnetic permeability. See, therefore, if you keep any instrument inside a soft iron box, no magnetic field lines enter inside the box. See, therefore, you can shield the magnetic field by keeping the instrument inside the soft iron box, because soft iron has large value for magnetic permeability. It conducts magnetic field lines through it, right? Therefore, the instrument which is kept inside the box is safe. It is being shielded from external field. Okay, that is the technique. Therefore, third option is correct. The reason is that iron is having very large, soft iron is having very large value for magnetic permeability. So that's why by keeping the instrument inside, it conducts a field lines, but the instrument inside is not being affected by the external field. A short bar magnet placed with its axis at 30 degree in with a uniform external magnetic field of 0.16 Tesla experiences a torque of magnitude 0.032 joule. Magnetic moment of the bar magnet will be. So you know that magnetic moment is torque is given by mb sin theta. mb sin theta. Say here torque is 0.032 and magnetic moment you have to calculate. Strength of the magnetic field is 0.16 Tesla and theta is 30 degree sin 30. See, therefore, you can simplify this. On simplification, so you are going to get m is equal to 0.4. Say 0.4 joule per Tesla. Joule per. Work done in rotating a magnet of magnetic moment 2 ampere meter square in a magnetic field of 5 into 10 raised to minus 3 Tesla from the direction along the magnetic field to opposite direction to the magnetic field. See, you are turning through 180 degree. See, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ, ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಯಾವ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಪೋಸಿಟ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಟರ್ನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ. ಅಂದರೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಆಂಗಲ್ಗೆ ತಿರುಗಿಸ್ದಂಗಾಯ್ತು, 180 ಡಿಗ್ರಿಗೆ ತಿರುಗಿಸ್ದಂಗಾಯ್ತು. Therefore, what is work done? Work done is given by W is equal to mb into 1 minus cos theta. mb into 1 minus cos 180 degree. See, this is 2 mb. 2 into this is m is magnetic field is 5 into 10 raised to minus 3. So you are going to get 2 into 10 raised to minus 2 joule. 2 into 10 raised to minus 2 joule. At a certain place, horizontal component of Earth magnetic field is √3 times vertical component. Angle of dip at that place is. So you know that tan theta is equal to BV by BH. They have given horizontal component of Earth field is √3 times vertical component. 1 by root 3. See, therefore theta is equal to 30 degree. Theta becomes equal to 30 degree. At a place, the earth horizontal component of magnetic field is 0.36 into 10 raised to minus 4 Weber per meter square. If the angle of dip at that place is 60 degree, then vertical component of earth field at that place approximately. See, let us make use of the same relation. Here tan theta is 60 degree, tan 60 degree is equal to horizontal component is 0.36 into 10 raised to minus 4. This is BV. Ask you to find out BV. 0.36 into 10 raised to minus 4. So when you calculate this, BV is equal to, this is root 3. 0.36 into root 3 into 10 raised to minus 4 Tesla. So you please simplify this. On simplification, you are going to get 0.62 into 10 raised to minus 4 Tesla. See, therefore, fourth option is correct. So dip circle is at right angles to magnetic meridian. What will be the apparent dip? See, apparent dip is given by apparent dip tan theta dash is equal to BV by BH cos theta. See here, theta is 90 degree. BV divided by BH cos 90. This gives you infinity. This implies theta dash is equal to 90 degree. Cos 90 0. Any number divided by 0 is infinity. Therefore, apparent dip theta dash is equal to 90 degree. So at a certain place, a magnet makes 30 oscillations per minute. At another place where magnetic field is double, its time period will be, this is the case related with vibration magnetometer. Say the magnet is making 30 oscillation per minute. So you have to find out what is the time period. Time period T is equal to, first we shall find out what is time period. Time period is T is equal to (60 divided by 30), okay, per minute, 60 seconds. So therefore 2 seconds. So this is 2 seconds. At another place, magnetic field is doubled. See, they told that magnetic field is doubled and they ask you to find out what is the time period then. T is equal to 2 pi into root of I by m into b. T dash is equal to 2 pi into root of I by m into 2b. Magnetic field is doubled. See, this is nothing but T divided by root 2. This is 2 by root 2 second. Root 2 second. See, it will be equal to root 2 second. Time period for magneticity, if it is divided into 4 equal parts along its axis and perpendicular to its axis as shown, then time period for each part will be. See, we have a magnet. We have a magnet which is divided into 4 parts. Okay. So we know that T is equal to 2 pi into root of I by m into b. After splitting into 4 parts, P dash is equal to, see here I dash becomes equal to, when you consider I dash becomes I by 16. It becomes I by 16 and m dash is m by 4. When you substitute this, T dash is equal to 2 pi into root of I by 16 by m by 4 into b. This is T by 2. This becomes equal to T by 2. The time period of freely suspended magnet is 4 seconds. If it is broken in length into 2 equal parts, one part is suspended in the same way, then its time period is. See, in this case, the magnet is, we have a magnet, its time period is T given by this. It is broken along its length into 2 pieces. Okay. So in such a case, you will find that the time period will be, magnetic moment is m dash becomes equal to m by 2 and I dash is 1/8 of a. This is how much? 4 seconds. 4 seconds. I dash is equal to 1/8 of I. When you substitute that, T dash becomes equal to 2 pi into root of I by 8 m by 2 into b. This is 1/4 of t. See, this becomes equal to 1 sec. Sorry. 16. 1 by 2. 4 by 2. 2 seconds. This becomes equal to 2 seconds. A magnet oscillating in a horizontal plane has a time period 2 seconds at a place where angle of dip is 30 degree, 3 seconds at another place where angle of dip is 60 degree. Ratio of resultant magnetic fields at two places will be, right? See, in this case, we shall make use of the same relation. Let us take this. T square is equal to 4 pi square I by mvh. See, therefore, Bh is equal to 4 pi square I by m into T square. See, therefore, BH is B cos theta. B1 cos theta 1. BH1 by BH2 is equal to T2 by T1 whole square. B1 cos theta 1 by B2 cos theta 2. T2 by T1 whole square. They have asked you to calculate what is ratio of resultant magnetic field. Okay. B1, B2. B1, B2. Now you please substitute this. B1 by B2 is cos theta 2 by cos theta 1 into T2 by T1 whole square. This is cos 60 by cos 30. Cos 60 by cos 30 into 3 by 2 whole square. So you are going to get 9 by 4 root 3. 9 by 4 root 3. So we have third option is correct. You please check it up. Third option found to be right. Demagnetization of magnet can be done by, we can remove magnetism from the magnet by rough handling, by heating, by magnetizing in the opposite direction. ನೋಡಿ ಈ ಮೂರು ಮೆಥಡ್ ಇಂದಲೂ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟ್ ಇರೋ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಸಮ್ನ ತೆಗಿಬೋದು. ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟ್ನ ಮೇಲಿಂದ ಬೀಳಿಸಿದ್ರೆ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಸಮ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಹೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಹಾಗೆ ಅದನ್ನ ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟೈಸೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಸಹ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಮೂರು ಆಪ್ಷನ್ಸು ಸಹ ಸಾಧ್ಯ. All the three options are possible. By rough handling means by throwing the magnet some certain height, ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಮೇಲಿಂದ ಎಸ್ತರೆ ಬಿದ್ದರೆ ಹಾಳುತ್ತೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಸುತ್ತಿಗೆನೆಲ್ಲ ಹೊಡೆದ್ರೆ ಹಾಳಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಹೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಡೈಪೋಲ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಡೊಮೈನ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ರ್ಯಾಂಡಮ್ ಆಗಿ ಓರಿಯೆಂಟ್ ಆಗೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಸಮ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಹಾಗೆ ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟೈಸೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಆಗಲೂ ಸಹ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡು ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅದರ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟೈಸೇಷನ್ ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. A ferromagnetic material is heated above its Curie temperature. Which one is correct? Ferromagnetic material na ನೀವು ಕ್ಯೂರಿ ಟೆಂಪರೇಚರ್ಗಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಹೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಡೊಮೈನ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅದರ ಓರಿಯೆಂಟೇಷನ್ನು ರ್ಯಾಂಡಮ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಡೊಮೈನ್ಸ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಟಮ್ಸ್ ಹೂಸ್ ನೆಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟೈಸೇಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ಟುವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಒನ್ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್. It may contains atoms around 10⁻⁹ atoms. Okay, 10⁻⁹ atoms ಅಷ್ಟು ಒಂದೊಂದು ಗ್ರೂಪು ಒಂದೊಂದು ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ಗೆ ಓರಿಯೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ನೀವು ಹೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅದು ರ್ಯಾಂಡಮ್ ಆಗಿ ಓರಿಯೆಂಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸಿ ದೇರ್ಫೋರ್ ಫೆರೋಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಡೊಮೈನ್ಸ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ಸ್ ರ್ಯಾಂಡಮ್ ವೆನ್ ಯು ಹೀಟ್ ದೆಮ್. ಅದರಿಂದ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್. The material of permanent magnet has, ಯಾವುದನ್ನ ಪರ್ಮನೆಂಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟ್ ಅಂತೀವಿ, ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೆ ರಿಟೆಂಟಿವಿಟಿ ಮತ್ತು ಕೋಯರ್ಸಿವಿಟಿ ಎರಡೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ರಿಟೆಂಟಿವಿಟಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ನ ಹಿಡಿದಿಟ್ಟುಕೊಳ್ಳುವಂಥ ಗುಣ ರಿಟೆಂಟಿವಿಟಿ. ಕೋಯರ್ಸಿವಿಟಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಸುಲಭವಾಗಿ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಕೊಡದೇ ಇರುವಂಥ ಗುಣ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಡಿಫಿಕಲ್ಟ್ ಟು ರಿಮೂವ್ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಸಮ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್. ಸಿ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಕೋಯರ್ಸಿವಿಟಿ. Retentivity means it's the property of the specimen to retain the magnetism even though magnetizing field is zero. That is called retentivity. The material which is having very high value for retentivity and very high value for coercivity is fit for making a permanent magnet. ಅದರಿಂದ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ. Relative permeability of iron is 5500, then its magnetic susceptibility will be. So you know that magnetic susceptibility is given by mu r is equal to 1 plus mu r is equal to I. They ask you to find out what is relative magnetic susceptibility, right? They indicate that by chi relative permeability of iron is given. 1 plus chi is mu r. This is given 5500. 1 plus chi. See, therefore chi is equal to 5499. Magnetic susceptibility. The relative permeability is represented by mu r and susceptibility by chi for a magnetic substance. Then for a paramagnetic substance, when you consider paramagnetic substance, it is having mu r greater than 1 and magnetic susceptibility is positive. Magnetic susceptibility positive ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಾ? ಹಾಗೆ ರಿಲೇಟಿವ್ ಪರ್ಮಿಯಬಿಲಿಟಿ 1 ಗಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಇಟ್ ಶೋಸ್ feeble magnetization. By applying a strong field, it shows feeble magnetization. Therefore, mu r is greater than 1. And then susceptibility. Susceptibility is positive. By applying a field strength, magnetizing field, it allows field lines to pass through it. Some part of field lines to pass through it. It shows magnetic inclination towards the magnetic field. See, that's why susceptibility is positive. Which of the following statement is incorrect about the hysteresis? This effect is common to all ferromagnetic substances. ಇದು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ. ಎಲ್ಲ ಫೆರೋಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸು ಹಿಸ್ಟರಿಸಿಸ್ ಸೈಕಲ್ನ ಎಕ್ಸಿಬಿಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಹಿಸ್ಟರಿಸಿಸ್ ಲೂಪ್ ಏರಿಯಾ ಇಸ್ ಪ್ರಪೋರ್ಷನಲ್ ಟು thermal energy developed per unit volume of the material. So what is the significance of hysteresis loop? Energy loss per unit volume of the specimen. The area of the hysteresis loop gives you amount of energy lost per unit volume of the specimen. Correct ಇದೆ. Hysteresis loop area independent of thermal energy developed per unit volume. ಇದು wrong. Shape of the hysteresis loop characteristic of the material. ಇದು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಸ್ಟೀಲ್ಗೆ ನೀವು ಕೋಬಾಲ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಟೀಲ್ ಇದಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಕೋಬಾಲ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಟೀಲ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ರಾಡ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಹಿಸ್ಟರಿಸಿಸ್ ಲೂಪ್ ಬ್ರಾಡ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಪರ್ಮನೆಂಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟ್ಗೆ ಬಳಸ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕೊಯರ್ಸಿವಿಟಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ, ರಿಟೆಂಟಿವಿಟಿನೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದೇ ನೀವು ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ ಐರನ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹಿಸ್ಟರಿಸಿಸ್ ಲೂಪ್ ನ್ಯಾರೋ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಅದನ್ನ ಯೂಶುವಲ್ ಆಗಿ ನಾವು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಬಳಸ್ತೀವಿ. ಬೇಗ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ ಅದು, ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಾ? ಹಾಗೆ ಈ ತರ ಆ ಲೂಪ್ನ ನೋಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ನ ಯಾವ ಪರ್ಪಸ್ಗೆ ಬಳಸ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಅದರಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ರಾಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಯಾವುದು? ಥರ್ಡ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ರಾಂಗ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಹಿಸ್ಟರಿಸಿಸ್ ಲೂಪ್ ಏರಿಯಾ ಏನ್ ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ ನಮಗೆ? ಇಟ್ ಗಿವ್ಸ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಪರ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ವಾಲ್ಯೂಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಮನ್ ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ the cycle of magnetization. When you carry out hysteresis cycle, certain amount of energy is being lost in magnetizing and demagnetizing the specimen. that energy cannot be recovered back and it appears in the form of a heat. And the loop area gives you amount of energy lost per unit volume of the specimen. Superconductor exhibits a perfect, at the superconducting stage, the material exhibits a perfect diamagnetism. This is called Meissner effect. Meissner effect. Say before attaining, magnetic superconducting stage, the material allowed field lines to pass through it. Say before superconductor. As soon as it became superconductor, it expels out all field lines passing through it. ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸೂಪರ್ ಕಂಡಕ್ಟರ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತೀವಿ ನಾವು ಕ್ರಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಟೆಂಪರೇಚರ್ T is equal to TC ಆಗಿದ್ದಾಗ. When T is greater than TC, it allowed magnetic field lines. When it becomes T is equal to TC or less than TC, the material became a superconductor. Once it became a superconductor, it expels out all field lines passing through it completely and exhibits perfect diamagnetism. This is called Meissner effect. Remember, this is called Meissner effect. A small rod of bismuth suspended freely between the poles of strong electromagnet. It is found to arrange itself at right angles to the magnetic field. This observation establishes that bismuth is a, suppose this is the magnetic field. This is the magnetic field. And in the external magnetic field, if you suspend a specimen, if the specimen align parallel to field direction, it should be either para or ferromagnetic material. When the specimen aligns itself parallel to the field direction, it is para or ferromagnetic material. On the other hand, if it align perpendicular to the field direction like this, it becomes perpendicular to the field direction. So in such a situation, we decide that the given specimen must be diamagnetic in nature. So therefore, in our data, they have mentioned the piece of bismuth align itself perpendicular to the field direction. Therefore, bismuth must be a diamagnetic material. If a magnet is suspended at an angle 30 degree to the magnetic meridian, it makes an angle of 45 degree with the horizontal. If the magnet is suspended at an angle 30 degree to the magnetic meridian, it makes an angle 45 degree to the horizontal. The real dip is, they ask you to find out what is the real dip. So we know that real dip is given by real dip tan phi or tan theta is equal to BV by BH. Apparent dip tan theta dash is equal to BV by BH cos theta. BV by BH cos theta. Here it is BV by BH into cos 30 degree. It makes an angle 30 degree. So what you are going to get, say this is tan 45 degree is equal to tan theta into 1 by cos 30 degree. What is the value of cos 30? Therefore, tan theta is equal to cos 30, which is equal to root 3 by 2. Therefore, theta is tan inverse of root 3 by 2. A bar magnet has a coercivity 4 into 10 raised to 3 ampere per meter. It is desired to demagnetize it by inserting it inside a solenoid of 12 centimeter long having 60 turns. The current that should be sent through the solenoid is, ಈಗ ಒಂದು ಬಾರ್ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟ್ ಇದೆ, ಅದರದ್ದು ಕೊಯರ್ಸಿವಿಟಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ 4 into 10⁻³ ಆಂಪಿಯರ್ ಪರ್ ಮೀಟರ್. ನೀವು ಅದನ್ನ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿರೋ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಸಮ್ನ ತೆಗಿಬೇಕು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಸೊಲೆನಾಯ್ಡ್ ಮೂಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಟುಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. The current that should be sent, see, it is given by solenoid length ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, number of turns ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ. See, then V is equal to, ನೀವು coercivity ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಬಳಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ. Inside the solenoid, what is the magnetic field? B is equal to mu naught Ni. So mu naught Ni. Length of the solenoid is 12 centimeter. They ask you to calculate what is the current required. And this current comes out to be around 8 ampere. They have given coercivity is 4 into 10⁻³ ampere per meter. Coercivity is nothing but the reverse magnetic field which is just required to demagnetize the specimen. That is nothing but H. Okay, H. The reverse field which is required to demagnetize the specimen is, number of turns is given. How many turns are there? 60 turns are there. H is equal to, so please substitute this. N is okay. H becomes equal to Ni. We can take H is equal to Ni. Here N stands for number of turns per unit length. N is total number of 60. Length is 12 centimeter. 500. I is equal to H by N. H is 4 into 4000 divided by 500. 8 ampere. Okay, we can work out like this. This is nothing but mu naught into H. It comes out to be 8 ampere. Okay, now we shall move on to next one. The figure illustrates how magnetic field B, the flux density inside a sample of unmagnetized ferromagnetic material, varies with B naught, magnetic flux density in which sample is kept, for the sample to be suitable for making permanent magnets. Okay, see here already it is known to us, in order to make a permanent magnet, the material should have high retentivity and high coercivity. You know, if this is the hysteresis loop, it should have larger value for magnetic if you indicate this OQOR. If OR is more, coercivity is more. If OQ is more, retentivity is more. See, therefore, in order to make it a permanent magnet like cobalt steel, it should have large value for coercivity and retentivity. Both OR and OQ, both should be more, right? See, therefore, second option is correct. The variation of magnetic intensity I with respect to the magnetizing field H in a diamagnetic substance is described by the graph. So we know that magnetic intensity of magnetization I versus magnetizing field. Said for diamagnetic material, magnetic susceptibility is negative. It cannot be magnetized, right? It shows magnetization just opposite to the applied field. See, therefore, for a diamagnetic material, OC represents the graph. OC. So the reason is that it has negative value for magnetic susceptibility. So when you apply a strong magnetizing field, it gets repelled. It shows repulsion for the strong field and it gets magnetized in a direction just opposite to the applied field. So therefore, OC represents the diamagnetic material. OA represents paramagnetic, OB ferromagnetic. A 6 long wire carries a current of 6 meter. Please take it as 6 meter long wire carries a current of 10 ampere. Another long wire B, which is parallel to A, separated by 0.1 meter from A, carries a current of 5 ampere in opposite direction to that of A. What is the magnitude and nature of force experienced per unit length of B? See here, both are carrying current in opposite direction. Naturally, there will be repulsive force. You have to calculate what is the force per unit length. Current flowing in opposite direction, and they are separated by 0.1 meter. 0.1 meter. See, one is carrying 10 ampere, another one 5 ampere. 10 ampere, 5 ampere. Okay. See, therefore, force per unit length, mu naught by 2 pi I1 I2 divided by D. You please substitute this, and substitution, say you are going to get 2 into 10 raised to minus 7. This is 10. This is 5 divided by 0.1. On simplification, 10 raised to minus 4 Newton. Repulsive force, Newton per meter. Repulsive force. Okay, you must take 6-meter long wire. They have given 6-meter long wire. They ask you to find out what is the force per unit length. Therefore, I have taken it as 1 meter. So, on simplification, you are going to get 10 raised to minus 4. The relation between voltage sensitivity, current sensitivity of a moving coil galvanometer is so you know that current sensitivity sigma I is equal to theta by I. Voltage sensitivity sigma V is equal to theta by V. These are the data given. I can write theta I is equal to theta by I. I just multiply it by G and divide this by G. So what you are going to get, theta by V into G. Theta by V is sigma V into G. So therefore, sigma I by G is equal to sigma V. This is the relation between current sensitivity and voltage sensitivity. I hope you have got this. First option is correct. You please check it up. Sigma is theta by I. I just multiply with G, divide this by G, right? The I into G means current into resistance, gives you voltage V. Therefore, theta by V into G. Theta by V is sigma V into G. A small cylindrical soft iron piece kept in a galvanometer so that ನೋಡಿ galvanometer ಒಳಗಡೆ soft iron pointer galvanometer ನಲ್ಲಿ see they have kept a soft iron cylinder. ಯಾಕೆ? See why they have kept soft iron cylinder? The reason is that it makes the field strong and radial. First option, radial uniform field is produced. Uniform field is produced. There is a steady deflection of coil. Coil deflection control ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಸಹ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. It makes the field strong and radial, and the uniform field is produced, and there is a steady deflection of the coil. All these advantages are there. That's why they have kept a soft iron cylinder inside the frame without touching the coil. Okay. Two galvanometers A and B requires 3 milliampere, and 5 milliampere to produce same deflection of 10 divisions. Then see here there are two galvanometers are there. ಎರಡು galvanometer ನಲ್ಲಿ ಫುಲ್ ಸ್ಕೇಲ್ ಡಿಫ್ಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ಗೆ ಎ 3 milliampere ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಬಿಗೆ 5 milliampere ಕೊಡಬೇಕು. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಸೇಮ್ ಡಿವಿಷನ್ಸ್. ಸಿ ಅದಾದೆ ಸೆನ್ಸಿಟಿವಿಟಿಗೆ ಏನು ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾ? ಸೆನ್ಸಿಟಿವಿಟಿ S is equal to theta by I ಅಂತ ಬರೀತೀರಾ. See therefore this implies S1 by SA by SB is equal to IB by IA. IB ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ? IB is 5. 5/3. Therefore SA is equal to 5/3 times SB. Sensitiveness of, this implies SA is greater than SB. Sensitivity of A is greater than sensitivity of B. A is more sensitive than B. ಅದರಿಂದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ. Say two long parallel wires are at a distance 2D apart. They carry steady equal currents flowing out of plane of the paper. As shown, the variation of magnetic field B along the line XX dash is. ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೀಗಿದೆ, ಎರಡು ವೈರು ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಕಂಡಕ್ಟರು ಈ ಥರ ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಹೇಗಿದೆ, ಹೀಗಿದೆ, ಹಿಂಗಿದೆ ವೈರು ಈ ಥರ ಪರ್ಪೆಂಡಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಟು ದ ಬೋರ್ಡ್, ಆ ಥರ ಇದೆ. ಇದ್ರ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಇರೋ ಸಪರೇಷನ್ನ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. ದೇ ಆರ್ ಸಪರೇಟೆಡ್ 2D ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಡಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಡಿ. ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಹೇಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. ಓಕೆ, ನೀವು ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಕಂಡಕ್ಟರ್, ಸ್ಟ್ರೈಟ್ ಕಂಡಕ್ಟರ್ ತೊಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, B is equal to μ0/2πI/R. ಅದರ ಅರ್ಥ ಏನು, B ಇನ್ವರ್ಸ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಪೋರ್ಷನಲ್ ಟು R ಈ ಥರ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ನೀವು ಪ್ಲಾಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎರಡು ಕಂಡಕ್ಟರ್ ಇದೆ, ಎರಡು ಕಂಡಕ್ಟರ್ದು ನಾವು ಪ್ಲಾಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಾಗ ಇದು ಒಂದು ಕಂಡಕ್ಟರ್, ಇದೊಂದು ಕಂಡಕ್ಟರ್. ಇದು ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಯಾವ ಥರ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಹೀಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಇದರದ್ದು ರೆಕ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಯುಲರ್ ಹೈಪರ್ಬೋಲಾ. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಪೋಸಿಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೆಂಟ್ರ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡು 0, ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ಲಿ 0 ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಪೋಸಿಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಹೀಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಸೈಡಿಗೆ ಬಂದಾಗ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಹೀಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಈ ಕಡೆದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಇವೆರಡದು ಸೇರುವಂಥ ಮಿಡ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟಲ್ಲಿ ನೆಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಫೀಲ್ಡು 0 ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಯಾವ ಕರ್ವ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಕರ್ವ್ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕಬಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಗ್ರಾಫ್ ಏನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀರೋ ಅದು ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ನಾನು ಹೇಳೋದು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ನಿಮಗೆ. B ಇನ್ವರ್ಸ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಪೋರ್ಷನಲ್ ಟು R ಇದೆ, ಇದೊಂದು ರೆಕ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಯುಲರ್ ಹೈಪರ್ಬೋಲಾ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಇದು ರೈಟ್ ಸೈಡ್, ಈ ಕಂಡಕ್ಟರ್ ರೈಟ್ ಸೈಡಿಗೆ ಬಂದಾಗ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಹೀಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಪೋಸಿಟ್ ಸೈಡಿಗೆ ಬರಬೇಕು, ಅದೇ ಥರ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. therefore you will get the graph right. An ammeter and a voltmeter of resistance are connected in series to an electric cell of negligible internal resistance. Their readings are A and V respectively. If another resistance R is connected in parallel with the voltmeter, an ammeter voltmeter of resistance are connected in series to an electric cell. ಒಂದು ಅಮ್ಮೀಟರ್ ಇದೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ವೋಲ್ಟ್ ಮೀಟರ್ ಇದೆ. ಇದನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಸೆಲ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ. ಇವೆರಡು ಏನೋ ರೀಡಿಂಗ್ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಇವೆರಡು ರೆಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಒಂದೇ ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಬೋತ್ ಆರ್ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ಸೇಮ್ ರೆಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಈಗ ಇಫ್ ಅನದರ್ ರೆಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಇನ್ ಪ್ಯಾರಲ್ ವಿತ್ ವೋಲ್ಟ್ ಮೀಟರ್, ಇದಕ್ಕೊಂದು ಇಲ್ಲೊಂದು ರೆಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. ಆಗ ಇದ್ರದ್ದು ಮೊದಲೇ ಇದ್ರ ರೆಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸು ಆರ್ ಇದೆ, ಇದ್ರ ರೆಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್. ಟೋಟಲ್ ರೆಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಏನಾಯಿತು, R/2 ಆಯಿತು. ಹೌದಾ, R/2 ಆಯಿತು. R/2 ಆದಾಗ ಇದ್ರದ್ದು ರೀಡಿಂಗ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅಮ್ಮೀಟ್ರದ್ದು ರೀಡಿಂಗ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಪಾಸ್ ಆಗೋಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರುವಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, ವೋಲ್ಟ್ ಮೀಟ್ರ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ಹೈ ರೆಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್, ಆಯಿತಾ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಇದಕ್ಕೊಂದು ಶಂಟ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಅಂದರೆ ಒಂದು ಪ್ಯಾರಲಲ್ ರೆಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಇಫೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ರೆಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಯಿತು, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯೂಟ್ನಲ್ಲಿ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಅಮ್ಮೀಟರ್ ರೀಡಿಂಗ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ವೋಲ್ಟ್ ಮೀಟರ್ ರೀಡಿಂಗ್ ಮೊದಲೆಷ್ಟಿತ್ತು ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾಕೆ? ಇದಕ್ಕೊಂದು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ರೆಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ನ ಪ್ಯಾರಲಲ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ವೋಲ್ಟ್ ಮೀಟರ್ ರೀಡಿಂಗ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅಮ್ಮೀಟರ್ ರೀಡಿಂಗು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Therefore, A will increase, reading of A will increase and reading of V will decrease. I hope you have followed the discussion of all these questions. If you have any inquiries, please ask me, approach me in the class. Okay, thank you.